On a sprawling case laid out by Fulton County DA attorney Fani Willis.
And with us now to weigh in is former federal prosecutor Scott Tenley. Scott, thank you so much for joining us.
Good to see you.
Fani Willis, towards the end of her press conference last night, said that she intends to try all 19 defendants together and is aiming to have the case go to trial in the next 6 months. Given that this is a RICO sweeping indictment, do you think that timetable is ambitious?
It's ambitious and it's unrealistic, but I think from the perspective of the district attorney, this is messaging to the defendants, meaning we are moving quickly. You can't hide behind this broad indictment and broad charges to hope this goes away in a couple years. And that should encourage plea agreements, that could encourage people to cooperate. So I look at it more from that perspective. She's messaging to the defendants that this freight train is headed in your direction.
And because this is a state case, this is the case right now that were Donald Trump to be elected president again, he could not pardon himself for. And we just saw that Mark Meadows, one of the people who has been indicted, is trying to move the case to federal court. What are the odds of that maneuver being successful?
Well, on the pardon point, I would say this. If President Trump is convicted or anything happens, if he is elected president, the case is probably going to come to a screeching halt. Now, he might have to deal with it after his administration ends. He just couldn't pardon himself. The move by Mark Meadows to move it to federal court is something that President Trump tried in New York, and that was unsuccessful. I think it's likely to be unsuccessful here, but it's certainly a step that we anticipated.
Willis has said that RICO is a tool that allows a prosecutor's office or law enforcement to tell the whole story. So what does she need to convince the jurors of?
Well, the biggest point in a RICO case is always convincing the jurors that there is a RICO enterprise, and that is a group of people associated in fact, not necessarily under a business, but just somehow associated, that have a common criminal objective and that they're participating in a pattern activity. All these crimes that are alleged in the indictment are going to be the pattern of activity. What she's going to have to show is that these people were affiliated with each other and they were all working together toward the unlawful end of overturning the 2020 election results.
All right, one of the charges that stands out is the harassment of poll workers Ruby Freeman and her daughter, who had their lives turned upside down based on these allegations of voter fraud and whatnot. What were your thoughts when you saw that laid out in the indictment?
Well, certainly my immediate reaction is that Rudy Giuliani, who's also named in the indictment, is facing a civil suit from Ruby Freeman and her daughter about those same events, and he has admitted in that suit that he lied, that he knew the statements he made were untrue. So in some senses, there's part of Fani Willis's case that's effectively been proven by Rudy Giuliani's own admission. So that's a strong inclusion in the indictment for the DA.
All right, a lot more to come. Scott Tenley, thank you so much for joining us tonight.